Hey guys, welcome to match 11 of the IPL as we head into 2 days of double headers. Always fun. Um, Last night's game, I think, was a bit of a letdown in terms of fantasy. Like all the players you expected to do well didn't really do well. I think the star player to note was Krunal Pandya. Um,
Yeah, uh, I think no one predicted how low or how slow the wicket would play. And as soon as that happened, Krunal becomes a very crucial factor in a team like LSG who bowls tight lines, tight lengths. And yesterday he had some turn on offer as well. So uh, with the bat as well, came in, just took it to the opposition. A good all-round performer, the only standard performer in the yesterday's game. Except for that, it was a sluggish game, and then good to see Rahul getting into some runs, getting into his rhythm, and
was
then
the
and then
perfect scenario for him to.
correct,
Yeah.
to get back to some form. Yeah. Otherwise, I think in a 160, 170 chase as well, it would have been very difficult. But I don't think any of the SRH batters could adapt to the wicket, the slowness of it, the spin on offer. And it was really nice to see the likes of Amit Mishra,
Yeah,
Krunal Pandya having a ball out there.
yeah. All right, let's discuss. Let's move on to today because I think a lot to discuss, right?
Yep.
Rajasthan versus Delhi. So I think one big name missing for sure is Mitchell Marsh, who's flown back home to get married. So he's not going to be there. Joss Butler, I think, is still. I think he's not going to play because of that finger injury he had last game. But
Correct.
I don't think they've
Correct.
officially come out and said he's not playing, right?
Correct.
So
The news is most likely he's not going to start as a precautionary measure, but again, we'll have to wait and watch for the toss
yeah,
and then when the teams are
they don't
announced.
need to risk him against Delhi, so it's fine.
Correct. Correct.
But fine. I mean, I think no Joss is a big. I mean, it shakes that team up. You don't know what they're
Correct.
gonna do. Who replaces him? Is it time for Joe Root to finally step in?
Yeah, I think so. Agar uh, Dhruv Jurel, who performed really well last game, अगर आप ये कह रहे हैं कि he can come at the top of the order and then be explosive from the get go, then Root is a very safe choice for number three. But if that happens, then I don't think Padikkal deserves a spot in the team because then I'm looking at the likes of Hetmeyer, Parag going one up the order, and then Sanju being explosive as well at number four. So you take Padikkal out and you can probably replace him with that bowling option.
Yeah, that's a good point. अगर जुरेल open किया तो फिर that makes sense. But
Correct.
another way I was thinking was कि maybe Padikkal opens. But yeah, when
Mm-hmm.
you say it, maybe it doesn't make sense because Padikkal को opening एक match के लिए भेज के ऐसे कुछ like they'd like rather have him get used to that number 4 and see what he does there, or they just don't go with him.
Correct. Yep.
But any options apart from Root? या लगता है Root ही शुरू करेगा, I think.
I think Root is the only option or the best option they got.
Yeah,
Um, Again, the thing with a pitch like Guwahati is you would want to strengthen your bowling lineup. So, but the factor that except for Samson, the batting order at the top would lack some experience. So I think they
yeah,
might go
Root
for
is
Root,
yeah.
yeah, and then replace Padikkal with an Indian bowler.
Any other changes? Do you think KM Asif keeps his spot? Like um, he didn't have a great game, right?
Yeah. To me, KM Asif goes out of the team. I'm looking like towards the like of Sandeep Sharma probably to come in.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
they have that option, and then I think with a team like Delhi and with a guy like Shaw, they might consider someone with who seems like swings the ball a lot more.
hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see if they back Asif. But yeah, that is something to be seen like at the toss.
Yeah, nice,
Mm.
interesting. Will be interesting to see what they do without Joss. On the other side now, I
And I
think
think
Yeah.
Just looking at the slide, right? I feel Asif will be the red for the second game as well.
Yeah.
He, I think we missed that. Yeah, now it looks better.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Padikkal, Asif, not doing good. Anyway, we'll come to performances because I think there's a lot to discuss there. But maybe let's just quickly go through what Delhi.
Your voice is, yeah, a little low, Vishnu.
Is it fine
Now
now?
it's better. Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah, so let's maybe quickly just discuss Delhi's expected lineup, right? Because again, Marsh is a
Yeah,
big miss.
yeah.
Um, I think they have Powell, who's a good replacement. But do you think they go Salt? I mean, considering it looks like they're basically lacking runs, right? Like apart
Correct.
from Warner, they're struggling with runs. So do they go with a Salt or more of an all rounder in Powell, or what do you think they do?
I would prefer Powell because he bats lower in the order. Salt के साथ the thing is you have Shaw and Warner as a fixed opening combination. If Shaw fails this game, that's when I think of replacing him with the Salt
Hmm.
and an Indian batter in Ripple Patel or a Lalit Yadav to replace say Powell then. But I think Shaw gets one more chance, and I think with a ground like Guwahati and if he can counter Bolt, which we saw Prabh Simran do really well last game, I think there are some runs up for grab.
Hmm.
And then the same thing with the likes of a Powell as well, right? The firepower he has to come good. I think Delhi are really missing what Shimron Hetmeyer used to do when he was in the lineup, or what he consistently does for RR.
Yeah.
He gives you those quick fire 30s. So Powell needs to understand that. He needs to get his experience into play and then give those quick 30 runs to Delhi whenever he bats lower down the order.
What do you think the lineup will be though? Like, does Powell come up, or do you think Sarfaraz plays one down, or maybe
I I
Rohit
would
plays?
I would play Riley one down, Sarfaraz two down. I would go Akshar three down and then Powell. I'll definitely promote Akshar on the form he's coming with, and
Yeah.
also the fact that if you put Riley above at number three, it becomes left, right. So I think that's more of a solid lineup according to me. Let's see what the team decides.
All right. Maybe I think that's a good segue into our fantasy picks, right?
Yep.
So I think Butler and Marsh not being there, I think those would have been. I think Butler is everyone's captain of choice, right?
Easy. Yeah.
So
In
him not
any
being
RR
there,
game, Butler is an easy choice.
yeah. So him not being there, I think actually makes it interesting because I think there's a good chance for people to be different and actually get some differentials in.
Correct.
So yeah,
Yep.
what's the first name on your mind for the day?
I will, based on form, I'll pick Sanju Samson and David Warner as my first picks.
Hmm.
Uh, both for the reason that, Warner surely gives you those 50, 60 points. He bats sensibly up the order. And Sanju for the definite choice that it's a small ground. He has an excellent stroke play. And except for Nautia, I don't see a lot of people troubling Sanju on this pitch. So
Yeah.
I think the bowling matchups work in
Warner,
Sanju's
right?
favor.
Like Warner, the only thing I'm worried is he looks very uncomfortable like first 10 balls.
Correct,
And then he
correct,
looks really
correct,
good. And first 10
correct,
balls is where he's facing Bolt, right?
correct.
Even last game,
See,
like
there is a stark difference of Warner for SRH versus what Warner has turned out for Delhi Capitals. But I think that's the thing with big players, right? They have a way out of such situations. I hope the Delhi camp is backing him. If Rishabh was there in the team, you would have seen a more aggressive or say a better side of Warner. But now he needs to, sort of control at the top and make sure he plays the anchor. So as you mentioned, right, first 15, 20 runs, first 10, 15 balls, he looks scratchy. But once he gets into the rhythm and if the pitch suits him, I think he can
yeah.
make big
But I
runs.
mean, it's just that Bolt Warner battle is something like I'm favoring Bolt in that battle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Uh,
it's a couple of overs. If he gets past, I think he's okay.
correct.
All right. I think next name on my mind, honestly, is Akshar Patel. I think for today, he's just a
Yes.
very good pick.
Akshar Patel becomes a very good pick. I think Saurav Ganguly also mentioned they want to use him a little up the order. So uh, and I'm certain that he's gonna get like more than a couple of overs in for sure. Last game was the decision of not bowling him was baffling because given the experience, right? At times you should leave the matchups behind and just focus on the quality of the bowler. So Aksar definitely is in. And for me, a certainty in the lineup is Chahal as well, because looking at Delhi's middle order, right, the likes of Sarfaraz, Riley, Powell,
Good
I feel he
players.
can, if he can come in and get a few wickets.
Yeah. Chahal is a very good pick for them.
Correct.
We were talking about Rajasthan's opening and Jurel and everything. We forgot Mr. Ravichandran Ashwin.
Uh, Ashwin, I think he's one of the same pools, right? I think uh, with a few player we have the bands of oranges going through, right?
Yeah,
Ex
he's
Delhi, I
obviously
think
an orange.
he's second on the list on wicket takers against Delhi, so he's gonna do well. But again, in terms of differentials and stuff, I think Ashwin is definitely there, but
Yeah.
not a sure starter in my lineup. So Ashwin is a
But what
very
if
good
what
differential
if
to have.
he, like, do you think it's very unlikely he comes up the order again? I mean,
No,
there's
no, I
no.
don't think I don't take that risk anymore.
Hmm.
I think that is also something that hurt RR last game. I think in the long run of the scheme of things, right, when you are looking at the tournament as such, one loss at the start of the season might not hurt RR. But I think they got it wrong tactically. Last game, if they would have opened with Padikal, maybe he would have fired at the top. Maybe he would have had a better strike rate, right? And
Hmm.
then you never know. They were just one hit away from a victory, right? So I personally feel they lost on 2 points rather than, Punjab winning those two. So tactically, they need to get it right and not get too excited with the prospect of Ashwin, the batsman.
Hmm. All right. What other picks? What do you think of Nortje at Guwahati?
Uh, Naughty and Holder both will be differentials, depending on who wins the toss and who bats where. But uh, Naughty is the Rabada of 2 or 3 years old, where he would definitely give you two wickets.
Yeah.
He's more than capable of outfoxing the batsman with his sheer pace. So Notia is definitely a differential, and even Holder. Holder, I think we discussed and we had some divided opinions, but I think
It's good.
bowling at the death, the deception, like the change in pace, he gets those 2-3 wickets
Yeah.
every time.
It's just that you need to forget about him as an all-rounder. I think that's one
Yeah,
thing a lot of people ki अरे batting आया ही नहीं इसका. He's not. He
yeah,
comes
correct.
to Ashwin now. I mean, he's gonna come
Yeah.
sits down. So I think that's something you can forget. What about Bolt again?
Bolt just had one poor game, but I think looking at the ground, right? I probably don't start with him, but at the same time, he's certainly someone who can trouble the likes of Shaw,
Yeah.
Sarfaraz, or even Riley at the top of the order. So uh, he's a champion bowler. He definitely needs to start.
Yeah. Yeah. Who else? So no Marsh. We probably have Powell playing. What about Powell if he plays? He's not a bad pick. It's just
Not a bad pick,
wait and
but
watch.
again,
But yeah, you don't know where he
he's
comes in.
he's a boom or bust player. So you just hope that batting first, he does not get many deliveries considering the top order fires, and if it's come to him, then I don't think he's a player who can take a match from 80 for 5 and then give you a 160, 170 total. So
Yeah.
for now, he'll be a wait and watch sort of a player, but I hope he comes good. Delhi will definitely be looking forward to that.
What about maybe we can discuss the two young openers, right? Shaw and Yashasvi. I
Yeah.
think both.
Uh,
I mean, Yashasvi
Yashasvi
is obviously
starts.
in great form, had a great
Yes,
first game.
yes,
I think he's a
yes.
very good pick. Um,
He's a very good pick.
Shaw, I think, is like my player to watch for the day. I mean, he has to come.
Correct. I think law of averages catches up with him, and
Yeah. It's
at the
just that
same
there's just,
time,
I'm sure he's feeling the pressure though.
correct, correct.
That's it.
There are too many sort of white noises around Shaw right now, like coming, not really having a stellar sort of a domestic arena performance, then that
Yeah,
case against him and all of that, right? So
yeah,
he does not seem in the groove right now, but uh, when you have the likes of Ponting and Ganguly around you in a dressing room, they can work wonders. So
yeah,
he's definitely one to look out for.
yeah. But I think uncapped, if you don't have Yashasvi, I think he's
No, well, yeah,
the
yeah.
best
He,
pick.
he, he, he. Yes, he's the best pick.
So
And I would pick a second as Riyan Parag. Parag is also, uh, if Padikkal does not play this game, and considering say Joe Root does not make into the lineup, I see a Parag going up the order today.
Yeah. Sarfaraz is also not a bad shout. I mean, he keeps.
Not a bad shout, yes, but
He had a
uh,
decent game last game. I mean, obviously it was a very
correct.
slow 30, but it was a 30 nonetheless. So he has
Yes,
runs in him. So there are
correct.
good options this game, uncapped.
Yes,
I mean, apart from these three, if you want to punt on bowling, you're gonna have either an Asif or maybe Kuldeep Sen if they play. You have
yeah,
Mukesh.
yeah.
Uh, I think there's also what about that guy? Like the impact sub Delhi gets in. Aman, what's his name?
Aman Hakim Khan, yeah.
Aman Hakim Khan.
So he's someone who is sort of touted as a power hitting batting all rounder,
Hmm.
long levers, a good decent 125, 130 pace. But again, I think these are just the first and second seasons, right? For some of these guys. I feel one noticeable omission for me for the Delhi lineup is Lalit Yadav. I feel with the
Surprising.
impact sub, right, he's not making into the team. But when Lalit Yadav played last season, the
He
good
was
part with
very
him
good.
was they were using him as a floater while
Yeah.
he was batting, right? A number three, a number four, if a couple of quick wickets go down. So definitely not having Pant in the lineup screws around with the balance of the team and then does that to a great extent. But I would probably get in a Lalit, right? And between Sakaria and Khalil, I'll play one left arm pacer and then bank on the likes of Lalit, Aksar, and Paul, right? To give you like
Runs.
good solid 8 overs and a good 70, 80 odd runs if they can.
All right. I think we've gone through most. Who do you
What do
avoid?
you what do you feel about Kuldeep? What do you
Yeah, I
feel
was
about
just
Kuldeep?
gonna
Can
come
he
to.
give you wickets?
I think so, man. I think like since he came to Delhi from KKR, he seems like he's just enjoying more. He's been in the wickets.
Yeah,
I think he's been unlucky last couple of games. I
yeah.
think if you like law of averages, like I wouldn't. I mean, again, like tactically, fantasy wise, there's just so many good picks that you probably won't go there. But in your
Hmm.
Dream 11 team, just having him could be a good differential. I think
Yeah.
he can get wickets,
And
especially like the middle.
how do you look at the like of like say a Manish Pandey fitting into this lineup?
Yeah,
Because
man. I think
I feel this batting lineup is a little fragile. They
yeah,
lose a lot of wickets in heap, right? So, uh, is there a possibility of having Manish Pandey somewhere
I
in this
think
lineup?
so. They need runs. They need someone apart from Warner to stick around. So yeah.
Correct.
But how has he been? How's his form been? I haven't watched him local. Like is he
Uh, Again, his form is sort of been, he's either been very good and or he has either been like quite poor. But I think one thing that stood out for both Manish Pandey and Mayank Agarwal during the domestic season was they got the runs when it mattered the most. So,
hmm.
like everyone around them in the Karnataka lineup was chipping away with runs, like going away with like for getting away on batting pitches, they were scoring heavily. But with
Hmm.
tough wickets, right? Manish Pandey and Mayank Agarwal both have gotten solid runs. So um, the amount of experience he has that cannot be discounted. But it needs to just work out at the end on what the possible matchups will be at the end.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna just put in Marsh and Butler here because
Yeah.
if people see, uh, I think, yeah. Oh, we missed one uncapped player we didn't talk about is Jurel. again, if he opens, you see him.
If
They
he
bat
opens, he
first,
becomes a very good.
yeah.
Yeah. If he opens,
If they bat
uh,
first and you see him come out to bat, I think that's a good last minute move you can make.
correct. Yeah.
Um, anyone else? I don't.
Early days.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I feel we have covered majority of the players.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, no Butler, no Marsh. So I think good game to experiment with captains.
Yeah.
Who would your pick be?
Uh, I'll go with probably Sanju as my captain.
Yeah,
Uh, and then
he's looking really good.
between, yeah, and between, say, an Aksar or a Notia or a Chahal, I'd probably have my vice captain. I know it's not a bowler friendly wicket, but
But I
uh,
think
I
Aksar is a
Aksar
very
for
good
bowling those 3 and 4 overs and also
bat.
giving you
And
30
Chahal, like what
35
you
at the
said,
bat.
right? Delhi's middle order is like perfect, like perfect prey for Chahal. So I think he's a very good pick.
Correct.
Differential picks, I think, yeah, I mean, if maybe Holder is like a good pick according to me, if you're very,
Yep.
if you want to go very different. But
I
otherwise,
think Shaw is the biggest differential for me this game,
yeah, I
looking
think
at
just
what he's
having
been
him
doing.
is going to be differential enough.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
I think the selection of Shaw is one that it keeps you hooked to your seat, and there's a
yeah,
lot of tension while he's batting. You always feel that this guy is either gonna hit a boundary or get out. So that's the nature with which he plays, but it always looks good when it comes off.
yeah, yeah. All right, let's see. All the best for the game. As you can see, Jammu is team red. I'm team purple today. I don't know, coincidentally, but yeah. All right, all the best, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you around.